Picking up where we left off in the last video, so I'll double click on Main Menu. I'm going to come down to our Twitter app delegate instance, and I'm going to control drag to the main controller, and then choose main controller. And it's as easy as that to create a connection from one class to another. I'll save, go back to Xcode. I'm going to close this panel. And before we build and run to test out our application, I want to tell you a little bit about application will finish launching. There is a significant difference between awake from nib and application will finish launching. As I stated earlier, the awake from nib method can be used in any class you choose, and it will be called once that class has been fully instantiated. In contrast, the application delegate is the only object that is sent the application will finish launching message. And it is only sent this message after the awake from nib method has been sent to all other objects in your project. So if you find yourself in a position where you need all of the other objects to be fully instantiated for a particular use, then this is the place to put that code. I think it's time for us to build our application and run. And I can tell you before we do this, we're going to get an error and it's going to be pretty ugly. But I want you to see it, and that's one of the reasons why I covered application will finish launching and told you the difference between it and awake from nib, so that when you run into errors like this, you'll know how to fix them. So let's go ahead and run it. And whoa, that's pretty ugly. We're getting all these errors in the console, our sheet's not connected to our window. Wow, what's happening? Well, this has to do with trying to set an object's properties when that object hasn't been fully instantiated. Here we're changing properties to a window before that window actually becomes fully instantiated. So let's go ahead and quit this. And the easiest way to fix this is to move our awake from nib method in our controller class and bring that into our app delegate class and put it in the application will finish launching. Since we're here, let's go ahead and add that method now. And we're going to say main controller, and we'll need a method name, say perform setup. That makes sense for what we're going to want it to do. And we'll save here. I'm just going to copy this, and we'll go back to the controller, and we'll come down to where our awake from nib method is, and we'll just change that to perform setup. Now we're also going to need this in our interface file. So I'll add it right here. Now let's save and run, and everything should be working fine. And there we go. So you can see what a big difference it makes between putting something in an awake from nib method or an application will finish launching method. And hopefully this experience will keep you from making the same mistake in the future. Well, now that we have login failed, I'll put in my correct credentials. Now our window title's updated, we have a login successful, and we know when our application launched that I was not authenticated, and that means that the values that were in our user defaults were not my correct credentials. But now that we've set it up to update our preferences upon application quit, let's go ahead and quit now, and we'll run this again, and when we do, we should be authorized. And we are. Now our application is reading and writing from preferences, it's reading them upon application launch, and it's writing them upon application quit. I think now we have everything set up concerning user authentication and keeping the user informed. In our next video, we will begin working with the NS text view that will contain the user's tweet.